Hello, this is Paul Lennon again, and I'm inviting you to enjoy the second little installment of my introduction of Legion of Crisis benefactress Mrs. Malaprop meets Mexican mole. Now, you'll notice later on that this is written by her son, uh, Rómulo Romeo Lynch Solano. Now, there's an Irish, you might say, South American connection here, which I'd like you to look into. Only yous who are, shall we say, historical buffs podrían entender, as they say in Spanish, what this is all about. And this is quite bilingual. This is like for, you might say, your honor students at Trinity College, you know, Irish, English speakers and the Spanish, fluent in both languages. You know, even if you have a Dublin accent, you can speak Spanish. There's nothing about that in the books. But I wanted to start off with the historical excursus. And of course, this is written now by her son, because the rest of the book is really her writings, her mystical writings, shall we say, regarding being a benefactress of this wonderful new religious order called the Legionaries of Christ, who are still in Ireland, it might be, after losing their novitiate, shall we say, in the fracas, another Spanish word, of course, of the priestly abuse of minors, the whole pedophilia phenomenon. And many people turned their backs on the church. They tell me I'm living in a foreign country now after that debacle. Notice the French word here now. Anyway, Romulo Lynch Solano, see what I'm saying? Historian and Quentista. Today, January 3rd, 2041, marks the 100th anniversary of the foundation of the now extinct Catholic religious order, the Legion of Crisis, slash Regnum Christi, because the Legion, like, what is it called, the chameleon, would change its name periodically to avoid any flack that might be coming through the walls because of the pedophilia of their founder and his merry followers, shall we say. His merry legionnaires. What to say? Less than 40 years ago, the Legion and its Rice Krispies lay movement, entiéndase Regnum Christi, was prospering under the pontificate of the late John Paul II. I mean, there's so many things you could say here. John Paul II made a saint. A little bit of Italian now. Santo subito. Make him a saint soon. You know, before all the problems start arising and the objections are in, and people start wondering, is he really a saint or is he not? Get him in quick. And I think my favourite, Paul VI, I think he was included in a little bit of the saint rush that happened there a few years ago in the Vatican. Anyway, I'm getting off target, just like my friend, the dear Bene Factress. Lovely. Well, we see she's like a foreigner, American foreign lady. Their growth of this order from 12-year-olds, this is true, recruited by the then 21-year-old Mexican seminarian, you might have heard of him, Marcial Maciel. We Americans, struggle with the Spanish pronunciation. Marcial Maciel. Benny calls him actually Marshall Asiel. I don't know why they actually did that. Founded by him in 1941, the growth was staggering. By the late 1950s, the Legion had weathered a Vatican investigation into the murky mysteries of its founder, the same Father Asiel, and spread from Mexico to Spain to Rome to Ireland to the USA and 40 other countries, depending on what the Legion's propaganda was saying. Where we have large numbers of young men and women continued to flock to its formation centres, and thousands gave their money to the cause of Orthodox Catholicism and clean-cut celibate priests with the big collar here. Now, what size would the collar be? This is not the proper size. I mean, about the thicker the collar, you might think was the holier, was the priest. So they had the big, thick collars, you know. There we are. Jim Flake, their PR officer with flair for figures, touted their numbers as 850 priests, 2,500 seminarians of all ages and sizes, and 80,000 lay members, married, single, separated, or secretly divorced. Don't tell anybody. The jewel in the Legion's crown were the hundreds of pretty, consecrated women tucked away in high-heeled residential neighborhoods who manned the order's many elite schools and front groups. The peace of Legion Camelot was disturbed in 2002 when a group of disaffected former members, relatives and friends, and parents of current members launched a web page, which was www.regainnetwork.org. Two N's in the middle, regainnetwork.org, and a discussion group, www.exlegionaries.com, offering a forum for the faithful to be heard. H-E-R-D. Sorry, the spelling. One of the most unique voices was that of my mother, Ellen Lynch Solano, under the pseudonym Bene Factress. By no means a critic of the order, she was a sample of the thousands of innocent widows responding to the Legion's bi-weekly mass mailings emanating from Hampton Court. Her love for the Legion padres and the unstinting giving of her meagre monies helped to ease her exile in this strange company. I'm referring to the US of A because she was from South America, as we'll see. Naive and heartfelt comments delivered by her soaring soprano lightened and off the often ponderous and pompous postings of others. Sadly, her coloratura was silenced in 2008 when www.exlegionaries.com was choked by a Legion legal order. Ironically, the retainer was paid for with dollars. Retainer for the courts. Prosecution of Regain was paid for by the dollars she had contributed. Bene became part of the collateral damage, and readers slowly became resigned to her absence. That's where she used to post. She was lovely. Paradoxically, the Legion of Crisis religious order had won the legal battle, lost the war when it was unable to withstand a second Vatican visitation in 2009 and ceased to operate as such 3 years later. Today, 30 years later, poetic justice was served when fragments of Bene's articles were uncovered during excavations at the Alexandria City Masonic Temple. Think of that. They keep records of everything. Miraculously, my mother's voice has survived lawsuit, hurricane, and flood, and hopefully will continue to edify future generations. Out of respect for her memory, I render it verbatim, unedited, unabridged, and unexplained. Thank you for your time, and enjoy yourselves, but be very, very careful with the COVID-19 or whatever it's called now, the the Atlantic or the West Lake or the Lake Waste or whatever it's called now, this new brand of COVID that's coming upon us. A special plea made to the younger generations that they not be out partying all night there against the rules and regulations and don't have to be bet by the Garda Síochána into submission. Anyway, greetings from an unknown location where the Legion can no longer sue me. Take care now.